So I'm so excited to announce the second edition of my first book, What If You Could Skip the Cancer? Over the last few months, I had so many people message me saying, why can't I get your book in stores anymore? I have a friend who has cancer, or I've given my book away and I want another copy. Why can't I get it? So I put out a second edition. It's practically identical to the first, maybe the bio's updated a little bit, but just so that it's in today's book marketing, world of online book marketing. And it's a very different world than when it was first published in 2009. So I'd love to read the introduction to you if you've never read it before. In many great fables, there is often an eccentric outsider who helps the hero see their life more clearly. This outsider points out the pitfalls in the hero's life that the hero can't see because they have lived in the same village for their whole life. It takes the wisdom of the traveler to help them see the way out of their problems. This is what happened to me. I come from a long line of women who die from cancer at a young age. When I found lumps in my breast, I didn't want to become another link in that chain. I was desperate to find a different path. This is where my fable begins. The eccentric outsider stepped into my life, and everything I knew got turned upside down. This is not a book about alternative medicine versus conventional medicine. It is about ideas beyond both of these things. It is about beliefs and patterns that affect our health regardless of what treatment path we take. It is about understanding how and why cancer comes to us in the first place. It's about looking at why it runs in families. It's about looking at some of our beliefs and habits and wondering whether they are helping or harming us. It's about learning from the people who got better, the spontaneous healers. What sets them apart from those who die? What do they have in common? What if we could learn from them and make the same changes in our lives before we get sick? What if we could skip the cancer? I'm really excited to have this book having this beautiful resurgence, because even as I was sort of going through it as a final edit in the second edition, I couldn't believe how much, although the story in this book is my story and it happened over 18 years ago, as I read the book, these same topics, these same concepts are current in my life right now. It was funny when the book first came out. You're kind of all enlightened for a little while because you've had these epiphanies and you're really living everything just in a wonderful way. And then in a few years, you start to slip into old habits and you start stressing about things you used to stress about. And I remember my husband used to say, there's this great book you should read, and it was so true because it was just, those are the lessons I need to learn. So who's this book for? As much as it's about cancer, it isn't about cancer. Cancer was my wake-up call. Cancer is the thing that is the fear in my family. So when I became sick, that was the catalyst that made me look at my life and go, am I really happy? Am I lying to myself? Am I telling myself stories to make myself feel like everything's okay because I'm afraid to rock the boat? This is the most beautiful thing, is that it isn't about cancer. Everybody has something that they're afraid of. I've had people read this book who have been diagnosed with diabetes or heart disease, or just simply have had a life scare that they're like, I don't want to live the way I've always lived before, but I don't know how else to live it because this is how my whole family's always lived. It's all I know. It's what I believe to be right. So there are a few groups of people who this book is perfect for. The number one group is if you are a natural caregiver, if you naturally give to others, if you struggle to say no, if you tend to put the dreams of everyone around you ahead of your own, if you sacrifice your own happiness and desires for the comfort and happiness of others. These are good traits, but what happens is after a while, we tend to just disappear. And deep down, we kind of start to resent the people that we love the most. And we start to die inside. So if that's you, then this is a great book that I really think you'll love. The second group is if you've been diagnosed with something. Maybe you've been diagnosed with cancer or any number of illnesses that you really want to go deeper. You want to understand, are there emotional aspects, are there mental aspects, are there spiritual aspects? Are there things in my lifestyle? Are there things in my relationships? Is there other things that I need to look at to really help bring my whole body into health? The third group is, are you a friend or a loved one of the people in group two? You know, I was at a book signing for Tantric Intimacy, ironically, a few weeks ago, and in the bio that I had sitting on the table, it had that I had written this other book. And these three women came up and they said, "Tell us about the first book." Well, one of the women had just been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and these two friends that were like flanking her were her friends. These were the friends that were going to help her through this. Well, so this book is beautiful for them too, to really know, how do we support someone who's going through something? How do we support someone who's simply a caregiver, whether they're sick or not? So this is really important. If your partner becomes sick, how do you support them? How do you understand the process they're going through to really become better body, mind, and spirit, not just, you know, having the treatments work, So that's really important. The fourth group are the people who are practitioners, whether you're in the alternative, complementary world, or even in the medical field, to actually be able to look at this and say, have some kind of insight as to what else is going on. A doctor friend of mine once said he was really into kind of alternative things and yoga and all these things, and yet he was a hardcore medical doctor. And I asked him one day, I said, isn't that curious? Like, why didn't you go into naturopathy or homeopathy or something that seems to be more in line with, kind of your lifestyle choices? And he said, in what he saw, he said, maybe 90%, 95% of a person's health is 100% in their control. It's the stressors in their life. Are they getting enough rest? Are they feeding themselves? Are they moving? All these aspects really are what indicate our health. He says, whether I'm an ER doc or a family doctor or I'm a naturopath or whatever, we can only do so much, because the choices I make every single day, how I interpret the world every single day, has so much more impact on my health, to a place of health. I'm excited to say this book is now available online. We'll be getting it into stores all over the world soon, but right now it can be ordered through Amazon, Chapters, Booktopia, Book Depository, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, everywhere. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me, and I'm just so excited to share this with you. We'll see you soon.